Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are taking on more of the Standard ladder. So Standard is in kind of a stale place right now. The Streets of New Capenna Championship ended a few weeks ago at this point. And while there was variety in the decks played, there's not really a whole lot else that's playable. So it seems like we've kind of maximized the space that there is in Standard to be able to explore, at least in terms of archetypes. So that kind of made me reluctant to play Standard at all, but we don't have a new set coming for a while, so I figure we need to bite the bullet and get in while it's at least relatively fresh. And I was flipping through the Standard 5.0 deck lists on Modo, and I came across this version of Hinata. Hinata, of course, is the deck that ended up winning the Streets of New Capenna Championship. It's built around the card Hinata Dawn Crowned. If you've been around on the channel for a while, you've seen me play the crap out of this card. But the reason I jumped on this list in particular was because I thought it looked pretty well teched for the arena metagame that I've been running into on the Standard ladder. Which is to say that it's like almost exclusively mid-range control at this point. It used to be that you could expect a decent amount of like Boros, mono white, mono green, that kind of thing. That meta does not exist anymore, at least in my experience. So I like the way that the person who made this deck teched for that kind of mid-range control. It's basically like pre-boarded against other Izzet decks and against mid-rangey piles. With the ability to deal with like creatures only in the sideboard. So you're basically folding game one against aggro a good chunk of the time. But you're comfortable with that because you don't expect to see a lot of aggro. And the main thing that jumps out at me about this particular list, saying it's teched against control in particular, is the 2 copies of Reckoner Bankbuster in the main. This is one of the Mirror Breaker cards. It can be very difficult for opponents to remove in control mirrors, and it just represents repeated card advantage. You can hold up your counter magic every turn. If opponent does something, you counter it. If they don't, you draw off the Bankbuster. And eventually, this will be able to accrue for, like, you'll be able to create a 1/1 and a treasure, which is already useful with the other components of the deck. Goldspan Dragon, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Voltage Surge, all of those care about producing treasures and using them. And just being a 4/4 beater that crews with that 1/1 token can be very annoying for the opponent to deal with. So Bankbuster not great, obviously, against creature decks, because by the time it's relevant, it's just, like, against aggro, you're probably already dead. But against every other deck in the meta, if you can expect to get to turn, like, 8, 9, 10, the Bankbuster is an excellent card to have in the main deck. So I'm interested to see what we run into on the ladder today, but if we run into what I expect to run into, then I think the Bankbuster is going to be an excellent inclusion. Also, 1 copy of Disdainful Stroke. I could see running even more than this, honestly. It does seem to be very good against basically every deck. Almost every deck is running some sort of 4 CMC card or better. Wandering Emperor is almost everywhere, and the decks that don't run Wandering Emperor run Goldspan Dragon. So it's a very, very good card in the meta. I think that if you're going to bring in the Reckoner Bankbusters, it's acceptable to just leave in 1 Disdainful Stroke. But if you don't like the Bankbusters, I think having multiple Disdainful Strokes in the deck would be another acceptable hedge against a meta that's mostly mid-range and control. So obviously the main game plan, get Hinata down and cast cheap Magma Opuses. Magma Opus can target up to 6 things, depending on how you distribute your targets with the spell. And that can make Magma Opus, combined with Hinata, cost only 2 mana. That is just an outstanding discount. And also, you draw 2 cards off Magma Opus, which can often chain into drawing multiple Magma Opuses in a row. And if the first one didn't kill the opponent, the second and the third probably will. So that's the game plan. We also have a fair game plan, which is just Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which is probably the best card in Standard, into Goldspan Dragon, and just beat the crap out of the opponent with a good old 4/4 that creates a bunch of mana. Along with a bevy of 2 mana counter spells as well. So obviously the Make Disappear and the Negate are right at home in a deck that wants to play a Goldspan Dragon and protect it. Valorous Stance, pretty great in the current meta as well. It's pretty good at just protecting your Hinata and Goldspan Dragon. If you play a Hinata with white backup, you can give it Indestructible for 1 mana because of the discount. That's great. It also hits Rafine, which is a widely played card in the meta, and it can hit a number of other threats as well. So deck is pretty sweet. The sideboard is basically a sideboard. It's just extra cards that exist in the main deck. You can just trim or add them as needed. I don't think there's much to go into there. So that is the game plan. That is the deck. Let's hop into some matches and see how the deck does. Okay, on the draw with what is basically unkeepable. It is 2 lands, but this is way too slow. We don't have our colors. This is much better. We have a 2, 3, 4 curve if we're allowed to attack with the Goblin from Mirror Breaker, so we keep this. And as for what to put back, it's got to be one of these tap lands. I think Sundown Pass is probably one of the worst lands in the deck. I think we'll put that one back. Hengegate Pathway, so likely some kind of mirror match here. Nope, Esper. Got the Luminarch Aspirant. That's a pretty good. That's pretty good at lining up against our Bankbuster here. Bankbuster is kind of for like the slow, grindy matchups. Aspirant is pretty good at putting pressure on the board, whereas Bankbuster doesn't affect the board all that much. But opponent is still not on any blue mana yet, so all is not lost. We can also like crew the Bankbuster and block the Aspirant next turn if that's where we decide we want to be. In any case, we are definitely playing Fable here. Apparition targets the Fable. Okay. So the question is, are they going to offer the Aspirant for Bankbuster trade? Or are they just going to... Oh, this is crew 3. Never mind. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll just take it. I thought this was crew 2 for some reason. Been playing too much unlicensed hearse. Yeah. So this is kind of awkward. We would have to play the post-combat Goldspan Dragon, which I guess is an option. But we have to throw away the 2/2 in order to do it. They might not block, knowing that some of our removals does 2 damage, so they might not block with the Skyclave Apparition. Kind of like it. Triple blocking is honestly pretty good for us, because all of these 1/1s were going to grow anyway when the wedding announcement flipped. And now... I think we play... Yeah, we just play out the Goldspan Dragon here. And if the opponent targets the Goldspan Dragon, we have the Valorous Stance lined up to protect it. If they attack, I think I am just going to simply block with the Bankbuster. Maybe not, just because Wandering Emperor is such a threat here. If it pumps either of these things, it eats the Goldspan Dragon, so maybe we're not allowed to do that. However, it forces the Wandering Emperor out on their turn, which means the Goldspan Dragon would be allowed to attack. So I think the play is actually to block the Skyclave Apparition with the Bankbuster, force the Wandering Emperor out, and then be allowed to attack next turn. Okay, so Wandering Emperor now can just minus on the Goldspan Dragon, but now at least we'll get to eat the Skyclave Apparition. So I think this is okay. Negate would have been nice. Not gonna lie. So let's start with a draw, I think. Find Otawara. That doesn't hit anything yet, but it will. That Aspirant's gonna be a problem. But if we can find an answer to the Aspirant, then I think we're in okay shape. Opponent's also been missing land drops, which means that they're likely to have gas in hand. Alright. So I don't think we can just allow this. I think we need to kill Rafine here. And unfortunately, now they're going to attack us for 6. The 3/3 is going to have to stay home now. We do have Otawara available to bounce the Aspirant, so things are kind of okay. We could draw with the Bankbuster. That seems relatively safe, but I think I like leaving up Otawara plus negate and just keep the 3/3 home to chump. Can also crew the Bankbuster, block with it, and draw. That's probably okay too. Yeah, let's do that. Go to blocks. Draw. Do I draw? If I draw and then use Otawara, then I don't get to hold up negate. What do you think their hand is, though? I can't imagine what it could be. Yeah, I think we draw. Find a land. Alright. I think this is fine. I think we'll let that go. Intrepid Adversary. Post-combat. Okay. So big boys. We could use some action here. That kind of counts. So we play Goldspan Dragon, attack. We have 4 mana left. We can Otawara, assuming they don't have removal for the Goldspan Dragon. If they have removal, I think we're just dead anyway. I don't think we can beat any removal spell. So I think we take it to them. And ideally, we bounce the Aspirant trade with the adversary here. We'll see how they deploy their threats. Yeah, that makes sense. So they're going to attack. What makes the most sense to bounce? Probably the Aspirant. Because I don't want them replaying this for even more value. But we're in trouble. If we draw like Magma Opus, I think we're in outstanding shape, though. Interesting. Meathook Massacre choosing not to replay the Luminarch Aspirant, though, that's pretty welcome, honestly. Unfortunately, the Spikefield Hazard isn't going to kill anything with this Wedding Festivity in play. So we're probably just stuck playing it as a tap land. And hoping... I mean, they're definitely going to play Aspirant here. These 2 cards, I'm not sure what they could be. Probably just more Meathooks. Dragon's Fire's a good one. We're hanging tough. Go to 2. Hopefully they just have, like, a Planeswalker here. Oh my god. Yeah. And every time we kill one of their things, we drain even lower. Yeah, and that's gonna do it. Okay. Yeah, our draw did not turn out super well there. But that's kind of what we get for having the bankbusters in the main against the aggressive lists. So what do we want against them? They surely have like tenacious underdogs, so I think we're down to bring in some flame blessed bolts. Honestly, most of the deck still seems pretty well teched against them. They have a hard time dealing with Hinata, just because their removal of choice is Vanishing Verse, which the multicolored creatures dodge. I feel like I don't need the Valorous stance as much. Spell Pierce seems good. Stroke actually doesn't seem great, because they're the more low to the ground aggro version. Test of Talents, again, I don't think it's as good, just because they're on the get us dead plan. So I don't think I actually need to sideboard all that much. I think this is kind of okay. Spell Pierce also not great if we're just getting rolled by creatures. So maybe we want the Valorous stance just because it hits Raffine. Maybe that's just better than Spell Pierce. Sure, let's try this. Okay. It's a slow hand. These tap lands hurt, but if we draw the third, then we have Fable. I think we're in okay shape here. Again, we have the Bankbuster in our opener. Fine, Chwari Disruption. I think we don't have the luxury of holding that. We just have to play that as a land. Unfortunately, the shields are down on Make Disappear for a turn, which means, indeed, Luminarch Aspirant is here. But we're going to go for our own constructive plan. We have a chance to resolve Fable of the Mirror Breaker. We're going to take it. We get Duressed. Interesting. They choose to take the Fable. So they think they can play around Make Disappear and Valorous Stance, and they're probably right. Opponent chooses to play that on black instead of blue. The reasons are clear. They want to get the underdog in play. We're not going to block. We drew our fourth land. I feel like Make Disappear and Bankbuster are probably not where we want to be at this point. Probably just want to dig for the Flame Blessed Bolts and hard removal. There you go. So, we attack, we'll get 5 mana, but it will be only post-combat, so we won't get the dragon down. So, what to do? They don't know about this negate either, they might just play right into it. And Valorous Stance, if we get rid of their creature, Luminarch Aspirant pumping itself won't be great for them either. So I think the play here is just going to be bolt the underdog, keep them from ever getting it back, swing, and if they pump the Aspirant, then we'll Valorous Stance with negate back up. Although that will prevent us from having the 5 mana to cast Goldspan Dragon next turn, so maybe we're just not supposed to do that. Maybe we're just supposed to take our beats from the Aspirant for one more turn. Depends what they do, of course. Vanishing Verse on the Fable. They're scared of the Fable, in other words. They're worried about me being able to copy my Goldspan Dragons. Do we just negate this? No, I think we let this go. It's kind of cute that the Aspirant is not a May. No, I think my read is that they have negate that they want to fight over. Let's just kill this now. No negate. So possible stroke. Duration's a pretty good draw. If they don't have exactly Disdainful Stroke here, then Goldspan Dragon probably just wins the game. I think that's a bet I'm willing to make. Yeah, great. Because they definitely seem scared of the dragon. And we'll just hold up negate. They also don't have double white, Oh, okay. We play around Spell Pierce and Make Disappear with this, but it doesn't matter. They don't have it. And we go to game 3. Nice. So that went pretty well, obviously. I think once again the bankbusters weren't inspiring. I think I'm going to cut both of those. Valorous Stance seemed good. It hit Rafine. It hit an early Luminarch Aspirant. Bolt was also timely. Yeah, you probably just want all the bolts, honestly, to be able to contest early aspirants, early tenacious... I was going to say tenacious Ds. Tenacious underdogs. I think I like this. Yeah. Interesting opening hand. It's certainly a keep. Now we just need to decide what order to play our lands in. Whether we have the luxury of holding Jwari Disruption as a counterspell or not. The third Hinata. I think we have to just get the tap land out of the way here. Negate's a good draw. It's also welcome to see that the opponent doesn't have a turn 1 or turn 2 play. Hopefully they just jam Rafine here into Make Disappear. Wedding Announcement. I think we negate that because Make Disappear hits more stuff. Make Disappear is going to rot, though. Alright, I think I like the negate option here. Interesting. Do we jam Expressive Iteration? If we do, what's the worst punish? They can main phase a Wandering Emperor? I think that's fine. Let's just make sure we get this resolved. Yeah. I think this is fine. This also hits our white source to be able to play the Hinata. So you have a turn opponent. What can you do with it? Nothing. Okay, great. Well, we're obviously not jamming Hinata. The question is, are we playing this tap land or not? It's like the most obvious Wandering Emperor of all time. I don't want them to, like... They kept this hand for a reason, right? I don't want them to play, like, Wandering Emperor untap, then Lolth me. That could be a problem. So I think we are just going to play Stormcarved Coast and hold up both of our counterspells. Even though it does mean that we won't be able to play Hinata with counterspell backup next turn, unless we draw untap land. There's Wandering Emperor, that's fine. Kaido is a good one, but if they make the ninja, then Spikefield Hazard will kill it. Maybe we're not supposed to do that, though. Maybe we're just supposed to use Dragon's Fire to make sure that we hit our land drop next turn. I actually think that's the way to go. We have to do this now, otherwise it'll phase out, so we don't get the luxury of waiting. Alright, I guess. Are we supposed to kill this 1/1 before they can play another Kaito? Probably, honestly. I don't want to let them attack and then have them resolve Kaito and be able to draw off of it, so I think we just do that now, as much as it hurts. We are kind of out of gas at this point. Valorous Stance is quite a good draw. Although, we don't have the white to play Hinata and Valorous Stance in the same turn. Stroke just seems so likely, but we're not making any progress if we don't play Hinata here, so I think we have to do it. No Stroke. Skyclave Apparition. Okay. This is actually pretty good for us, I would say. The time has probably come to play another Hinata. Obviously. I don't think this Rory Disruption is countering anything, and I want more mana, so we're just going to play this tapped. This bottleneck on white has been uncomfortable. Duress. We can make that disappear. They're going to take it anyway. If we play Make Disappear, they're going to take Valorous Stance from us. And we're going to be naked. But it prevents them from just, like, resolving Wandering Emperor on us. I think we do. Okay. Yup. Not a number 4. Makes sense. If we attack, and the opponent plays Wandering Emperor and exiles Hinata, how do we feel? How likely do we think it is that they have Wandering Emperor? I think if they do have Wandering Emperor, exile Hinata, then we just have 2 more in hand. I think we have to be liberal with how we use this one. And we are kind of in a race. And we are kind of winning that race. We won't for long, right? Our hand sucks. They have 4 unknown cards. I don't know what their hand could possibly be other than Wandering Emperor here. If we believe that, we can just play another Hinata. I actually think I kind of like it. I don't know what their hand is. I'm at a total loss. What do you think it is? Like meat hooks? Alright. Glad we played the Hinata. Now, like, Magma Opus off the top seems good. It could be, like, Negate. We haven't played a non-creature spell in a while. Alright. Goldspan, yeah. And if they meat hook the board, we do get a 4/4 attacker. They would go up to 6, though. Raffine. Okay. So now they have to chump with Raffine or they die. And they are dead to removal. That smells like victory to me. And we don't even need to go any further than that. We don't need to worry about the ward with Raffine or anything. We were playing to draw, like, obviously that seems like a lucky draw there at the end, like just top decking lethal, but we were playing like we were going to find it the entire game. So I think that that's a justified outcome. Anyway, okay, 1-0, on to the next one. Okay, on the play with reasonably good opening hand. We have the combo, we have early interaction, we just need to draw the lands to get us there. Being on the play means this Bankbuster is likely to resolve and do good things for us. Raffine's Tower, so it looks like we're up against Esper again. Okay. We could hold up Make Disappear for like an early creature, but I think we're just going to get the Bankbuster down. Opponent does nothing. We love that. We're just gonna play this Dwari Runes tapped and say go. Because we won't have the mana to draw and counter something no matter what. Raffine, we're gonna make that disappear. Find Spell Pierce, that's honestly pretty good. Question is, do we Hinata here? If we Hinata and they kill it, how sad are we? Pretty sad. I think we just try to draw land with the Bankbuster and hope that Hinata resolves, and then we can Spell Pierce their removal spell. Okay, so opponent has Wandering Emperor, as they always do. We find our land. So we can Hinata hold up Spell Pierce, which seems great given that we know that they have Wandering Emperor. Obscura Interceptor. Okay, that is not one that I anticipated. I probably should have. Okay, that's annoying. Yeah, that's really good. I was sure that would be Wandering Emperor. Now all of a sudden we're in trouble. It's a bad tap as well. I would have loved to hold up both Valorous Stance and Disdainful Stroke. We have Voltage Surge, I suppose, to kill the Interceptor. Kaya. Alright, well, we'll Spell Pierce that. We can't really realistically allow Hinata to get exiled here. Kai is a weird inclusion. So this will connive 1. So at most it gets to 2 toughness, which means Voltage Surge will kill it. So I think we're fine with this. We'll just take 4. And then we have Magma Opus. What the hell is that? Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. It's not a planeswalker. Sure. That's kind of scary. But okay. We found land. That's outstanding. Let's play this on blue. And I want to kill this now, before they have a chance to do anything. Another question is, what do we do with respect to our Magma Opus? If they have a counter spell in hand or like another Obscura Interceptor, we'll be pretty upset if we let them untap. So I think better is just to Valorous Stance Raffine here. Pay the ward. And we can attack with draw with Bankbuster, hold up Disdainful Stroke, because Hinata gives us the Disdainful Stroke discount. Sure. That's a good one. That dodges our stroke pretty well. Does feel like, given this, like they have to be trying to equip what's it called? Wandering Emperor or something like that. That's a terrible tap. I don't know why I tapped my blue. Okay, it's annoying. I have to be really on top of these taps. But we are compellingly ahead. Vanishing Verse on the dragon. Sure, that just gives us a treasure. Am I down to just crack this treasure here? To draw with the Bankbuster? More likely I want a crew. Like, it's a Rafine against the world here. Four mana. I can't kill Rafine and pay the ward with the Opus this turn. I think I just want the treasure, truth be told. And I'll just hold up the Bankbuster activation. But I think we take it to him, given that we have the Magma Opus in hand that can swing the game. Sure. That's not an inspiring start for them, right? So this is like effectively +2. It'll get 1 counter on it. So it's a 3/6. Kaido. Kaido's good. That's surprisingly annoying. Let's see if we can find like Spell Pierce or something. Oh yeah, we get a treasure here. Yeah, that seems good. Oh, and we get the discount from Hinata anyway. Yeah, sure. So at least what they do here, anything they do here, they won't be able to play right away.
Get in, get out. Now, what do we have here?
Find Expressive Iteration, sure. That's kind of annoying, but I think I just want more land drops than I want another Hinata. And now we have 7 mana available. I think the plan is just going to be in their upkeep, kill Kaito, tap Rafine, tap a land. And please just don't have drawn literal Obscura Interceptor. So this will do what? This will... We have 3 targets, it'll cost 5 plus 1 for Rafine. So it'll cost 6. We have 7 mana, which will still be enough to hold up Disdainful Stroke, which will actually hit the Interceptor if they have it. Great. It's a nice one to be able to counter. Okay. So they need a hell of a draw off the top here, or they are just dead on board. And we have negate. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think that's... I was a little hasty playing that Jwari Disruption earlier, but... overall, that felt pretty good. So this is like a weird take on... This is not like Esper Aggro, right? Like the last deck was. This is like Esper very mid-range. With Obscura Interceptor as a weird tempo play. But they have Kaya's. They have this like... It's like jank, really. Is honestly probably a waste of a card. I don't like. Obviously, the point is like to equip these planeswalkers, get in, equip Rafine, get in, just deal big chunks of damage. But the truth is that if you have these planeswalkers and things resolved, you're probably already way ahead. So it's just a win more kind of card. But hey, you know, if you want to like send Wandering Emperor in with a sword to kill things, then I guess I understand. Did we see any, like, creatures other than Rafine? No. So I don't know that I'm into the Flame Blessed Bolts until we see more of that out of them. Disdainful Stroke seems pretty good. Spell Pierce seems really good. Valorous Stance hitting Rafine seems actively outstanding. Voltage Surge, meh. And I feel like our Magma Opuses are less likely to resolve. Because, especially if they're running the Interceptor, it seems likely that like our top end stuff is not going to resolve super well. Transfire doesn't hit enough, I don't think. I think this is okay. Let's try this. On the draw, this hand is okay, but slow. I guess we're keeping. Like, we have Hinata, Magma Opus, and Fable. It seems insane to even consider throwing back anything like that. Ah, God. Another tap land. Alright, I think we play the Deserted Beach in case we draw an untapped land. We'll be able to hold up Jwari Disruption. Like so. Opponent's not going to play their Rafine into it. That makes sense. So, given that, and given that they can't Obscura intercept any of our stuff at the moment, I think now is the time to just play Fable. Vanishing Verse. Yep. One plays Redain. Redain's an interesting one. I think the time has come to turn our Spikefield Hazard into a spell. Now the question is, do we play Hinata or not? They showed us Kaya, which is like a pretty good reason not to. We're probably just supposed to go slow. If we play Hinata, they play Kaya, and we draw untapped land, we get to Goldspan kill the Kaya, though. Alright. I think I've convinced myself. Nice. So we are fairly sure that the opponent has Wandering Emperor here. If we play Expressive Iteration, we will be tapped out of our blue. So I don't think we're attacking with Hinata here. I think we are just saying go. No, they don't have Wandering Emperor. Interesting. So what do they have? They could have like a Hullbreaker Horror or something that they're working towards. This definitely feels like they're sandbagging an Emperor. I think we're just going to wait. I don't want to jam the Magma Opus into a counterspell either. I think we're just going to play Expressive Iteration, be calm about it. Interesting. So we don't have another land other than the Jwari Disruption to play? Yikes. Well, I don't want to play the Bankbuster this turn. Negate also just seems good. I think we just take Negate. Put back Bankbuster, exile Magma Opus. We do have enough targets to play the Magma Opus right now if we wanted to, but that just seems suicidal. I think we just say go. Does not feel like opponent has Wandering Emperor. Lunar Aspirant, sure. So we can Magma Opus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll cost 2. We'll still have Negate backup. I think not. We won't have Negate backup because we need to spend our blue mana to cast the Magma Opus. Awkward. Okay, sure. Alright. Now, I think we're attacking with Hinata. Oh, they have like a Ganjo. Oh boy, that's bad news. Okay. Didn't realize we were playing around that. So 1, 2, 3 targets. 4, 5. Kill the aspirant. Hold up. Double counterspell? Sure. Okay. And now we can just say go. Yeah, I didn't think about Iganjo there, but I'm glad I didn't play the I'm glad I didn't play the Goldspan Dragon pre-combat. I'm definitely interested in cashing in this Make Disappear as well. Like, it's starting to rot as we get more stuff in hand. Let's kill this Test of Talents, which makes a lot of sense that they have it, at least, given the way the game has progressed. And now we just kind of take over the game, right? We can Goldspan Dragon, Fable, hold up Stroke. This doesn't mean we have to use the treasure for it, but I think I want to hold as much blue as possible. Although, come to think of it, I probably shouldn't be. Probably should have just kept the treasure tapped differently. Do I care about Sorin? If I stroke this, it resolves and they make a 2-3. How bad is that? They could Test of Talents, the Disdainful Stroke. But I think we just stand a good chance of winning if this stroke resolves. This is a weird point for the opponent to tank, right? You think this either... if they have a counterspell, they snap it off here. They could be... Their hand could be like, therefore, counterspell plus Vanishing Verse, and they need to make a choice about which to spend. If so, that's probably a tough decision. But you probably need to use the counterspell, given that I'm empty-handed, and the counterspell will not be good in the future. And we are only swinging for 10. It's just a guess about what's in their hand. This could also just be Salt Rope. Like, they could have just Alt F4'd. Okay, so it resolved. It looks like that was indeed Salt Rope. We loot this away, we find Expressive Iteration. Let's just see if we can find a Spike Field Hazard to win the game. We don't. So I guess we're just going to take Hinata into hand and hold it. No reason to overcommit to this board at this point. Swing. They go to 1. And they either come back and have a meat hook or they don't. Okay, cool. So, opponent just sort of left, but I think the game was well in hand at that point. Okay, on the play with the Bankbuster on turn 2. This hand is a keep. I am always a little scared of not drawing the third land in situations like this, but the Bankbuster can hopefully find it for us. We have Hinata, we have Stroke, we have Dragon's Fire. If we just draw lands, I think we're in pretty great shape, and obviously the deck is mostly lands. So I don't think we can have any fear. I do hate this bird, though. Mountain Go. Okay. Wonder what Mountain Go means. Mountain Otawara. I'm very glad we drew land. I was not enthusiastic about having to cast the expressive iteration into Jwari Disruption, which seems likely that the opponent has it. Yeah, so it is Izzet. A Fable we can't do much about, but we can try to draw Spell Pierce. We don't. We do have our own Fable. Unfortunately, we don't have the land drop yet, so maybe that was... I think that's all the more reason to draw instead of casting Dragon's Fire. I think we just want both lands. Right? Yeah. There's some chance, like, if I have to discard a land, I'd much rather beat the Sundown Pass, so that's the reason I'm putting that into my hand right now. Play Stormcarved Coast, and the question now is, do we Dragon's Fire the 2/2, or do we hold up Disdainful Stroke and draw? Their 4-drop is likely to be like Hinata, I guess, but we have our own. And I don't want them to be able to, well... If the mana makes a difference, then whatever they play will be able to Disdainful Stroke. So it's not like the end of the world. But if their play is just going to be like hold open counter magic, then I don't want them to have the mana advantage on me. So I think that convinces me to do this for now. Gotta say, I got excited when I saw Mountain on one. I was hoping to play against, you know, some kind of like aggressive deck. Instead, we've run into Esper Izzet today, which is just kind of the current state of Standard, unfortunately. All right, so we have Sundown Pass, Fable here, which allows us to hold up Stroke. I think we're down to do that. Definitely don't want to slam my Hinata yet. Make disappear. I'm pretty sure we decline. Because the opponent could have a Goldspan Dragon, and it would be very bad news for us if they were able to resolve it. What do you know? Okay, so the play here is probably Expressive Iteration, hit our land drop, Voltage Surge, Kiki Jiki, and hold up Bankbuster. Alright, well, I think this is easy, unfortunately. Do we Voltage Surge now or not? They don't have a target for it. I guess I don't want to like allow them to play a creature and have a counterspell, and then be able to copy whatever whatever they play. So out of an abundance of caution, we'll just do this now. I guess opponent's holding like full control or something. I don't know what could be giving them priority there, but we're gonna say go. And ideally, well, we're gonna draw off the Bankbuster basically unconditionally. There's no doubt about that. So the opponent has shown no signs that they are Jeskai. We just see like pure Izzet, which does concern me a little bit because it might mean they have Hullbreaker Horror in the main. It is weird that they played land Expressive Iteration. But yeah, Hullbreaker Horror scares me. We found land. We have how much mana? We have 6, 7. We can Fable, Iteration, draw. So if that's the plan, let's do it in this order to maximize the information we have. If this gets countered, I'm okay with that. Make Disappear is a good one. How much white do we have? 3, more than enough. If this resolves, we even have the 2/2 to be able to get the extra make disappear. I'm tempted to just do it now to get the Fable to resolve, because this make disappear is not going to be able to counter a dragon next turn if they have it. And we have these lands that we want to loot away. Yeah, let's do it. I'll take the shields down for a turn. Also, again, as I said, I'm very worried about Hullbreaker Horror, and the make disappear won't do anything at all against that. Alright, well, looks like the opponent may have just disconnected or roped out or whatever. Goldspan Dragon's a good draw, although at this point, if the opponent's gone, then it's not really going to matter much. When given the opportunity, we'll loot away the Mountain and the Hinata. Definitely not going to need 2 of them. And it depends somewhat what we draw, but I think I'm just going to jam the Goldspan Dragon. We would love to draw like a counterspell, just lock the game up. Sure. Okay. Oh, and we don't even go to game 2? That sucks. Alright, well, that's a bad way to end the video. But I think I kind of have to. Like, I don't have a whole lot of time to record another game, and I want to make sure that you guys see something in this video that isn't Esper. So, well, let me know what you think about me including this game. I think it's probably fine. I think we fought through game 1 pretty well. And the video is probably already pretty long at this point. It was control matchups all the way down. So let me know what you think about this video. There will be Pioneer coming in the next one. We're going to be playing some Rakdos Midrange. As always, love to know what you hear. Love to hear from you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later.